This is local. We are local. What's up, locals? Last year, we did a first impressions video for the Power Disc Golf Academy, an online teaching tool with video tutorials headed by Paul Ulibarri. And truthfully, it was kind of an amazing program. It offered really in-depth video tutorials on sort of skill sets and how to improve your game. Well, since then, we've seen the evolution of seemingly another sort of powerhouse in this space, PulseA. And today we will be doing a sort of head-to-head comparison of the two. Are they the same? No, there's actually some really significant differences between the two, and I think you'll see that in this video. We will break down what differentiates one from the other in terms of cost, experience, and hopefully allow you to make a more educated decision about which program is going to give you what you're looking for in bettering your game, as well as talking about an element to these programs that I don't think enough people truthfully talk about, and maybe some people buy into them before they've thought about this. So stay tuned, because we're going to get to that in a few minutes. Also, I will leave chapters down in the description, so you can click on the time codes to jump to the part of the video that you want to see. This video is sponsored by our local Patreon community. The best way to support what we are doing, if you're a fan of our content, please consider joining. You get exclusive access to prize draws, early access to videos, and a community of like-minded disc golfers. I want to say a huge thank you to friends like Mike, Andrea, and Nicole, who have recently joined, other friends like Alex, WJ Homestead, Chris, and Tyler, who have been around for a while, just to name some of the amazing people that have joined us in our community. Thanks so much. Let's get back to the video. Let's start by looking at my favorite things about the Power Disc Golf Academy. I'm going to focus on a couple of the videos specifically. Couple of my favorites. Simon Lizotte does like the lazy man's warm-up. It's a very short, like 2 to 3 minute video where he breaks down like a really quick warm-up drill to just get your body moving, get the blood flowing, and, you know, a quick and easy way to prevent injury. I love this. It's very quick, very easy, and it's a routine that you can get into. And it's one of those things that, like, I didn't sign up for Power Disc Golf Academy for a warm-up drill. I signed up for it to get, you know, skills and to be able to, you know, work on my game. But this is one of those little bonuses that's like really a nice thing to have, and it's a nice thing to take with me. If I've bought this program, it's nice to have these little things that like I can actually use like after the fact. So this was a nice little bonus. Another one was a putting game that happens. Paul Ulibarri goes through it with the other guy that he kind of often brings in as like sort of like the average disc golfer, and they go through this game together, and it's a really sort of fun, competitive little game that makes working on your putting really fun. So again, just these like little things that like are takeaways that like I've really enjoyed in it so far. What I will say too is, since our first impressions video, the amount of content keeps growing. The amount of coaches, mostly like pro tour players, keep getting added into the program with different segments. But, you know, I think I would say a lot of the same things that I said in that first video, which are, when you are watching Power Disc Golf Academy, or when you have joined Power Disc Golf Academy, you're getting a really in-depth, very detailed lesson program that breaks down like so many specifics in your game. I just the other day was watching Ezra Aderhold's lessons on step putting. And, you know, the way he spoke about it, I don't know, I found it really nice. And up to that point, I've always found step putting awkward. It's one of the things that I'm going to be working on this year coming up. And I just loved the way that he broke it down in, I think it was maybe 5 to 10 minutes, I want to say. So it wasn't a long time, but those were all a couple of like the standout ones that I've really, really enjoyed so far. All right, now let's get to some of my favorite things about PulseA. So you have this app. And I personally, I love having an app here. I think this is a great addition to this program. If I'm going to pay for a lesson program right now, as of right now, Power Disc Golf Academy requires you to either jump into the website on your laptop like I am right now, or jump into the app like through Google Chrome, Safari, whatever web browser you use on your phone. And that's fine, but it's a little bit clanky. And if I've got 20 minutes, personally, I really like that PulseA gives me an app right now. I find the whole platform just has more of like a modern feel to it. Visually, it's very engaging. I find Power Disc Golf Academy, like as a platform, it lacks any sort of like visual grab. Now, that's not what you're buying. You're obviously buying this for lessons, but it doesn't hurt that when I'm like scrolling through videos, putting basics, for example, there's just, I don't know, it's kind of a very nice user experience. I've not added anything to my favorites. Here's my settings here. If I jump back over here, it feels like what an app should be for a program like this. I have found that there's not as great of a selection of tutorials yet. PulseA is newer than Power Disc Golf Academy, but they too continue to add coaches, again in the form of professional players. You see here Drew Gibson, Jennifer Allen is in here, Matt Bell, Avery Jenkins seems to be a big part of this as well. They've brought on Scott Stokely. There are, just Philo's on here as well. You've got Thomas Gilbert. So they've got a nice sort of group of coaches, very similar to Power Disc Golf Academy in that way. And they've got some unique areas too. You can see that there's like an in the bag section, which talks about each of these pro tours in the bag. Disc Talk, again, kind of interesting to see. And if I click here, if I click Start Course, let's see what we're looking at here.
I am Thomas Gilbert, and I play disc golf professionally on the Disc Golf Pro Tour and the World Tour. My background is I'm a Canadian player. I come from Toronto, Ontario, lived in the big city for pretty much all my life.
All right, so this is obviously like a little bit of background on Thomas Gilbert, but if I scroll ahead, it looks like we're going to get into Disc Talk.
That's really the biggest goal at the moment, but I would say, of course, I have long-term goals of becoming the greatest Canadian player of all time, becoming the best player I could possibly be, having multiple Elite Series titles and major titles in the future, hopefully get a few World.
All right, so it looks like it's a bit of an inside look at some of the pro players and maybe some of the things. Disc Talk sounds like something that you would get into, learning a little bit more about whether it's talking about, disc selection. There is actually a section in Power Disc Golf Academy, just to jump back, like how to build a bag. And I actually wonder if, some of the things that maybe Power Disc Golf Academy brought out inspired some of the things in PulseA, or vice versa. Seeing a section on building your bag seemed like a newer section in Power Disc Golf Academy, and I wonder if like some of the platform experience that PulseA is giving you with like disc dyeing in the bags, Disc Talk, maybe that got Power Disc Golf Academy. I'm not saying that for sure. I'm just, I wonder if, theoretically, I bet you both platforms are very aware of their competitor and very, maybe trying to respond, to those things. But overall, if I jump back out of here and I go back into, say, something like, say, putting basics, and I continue with this course because I've already started this course.
Breaking the wrist, trying to generate more spin, more speed, therefore getting a little more range. You can putt from a lot farther out and even putt in windier conditions with more consistency the quicker the disc is spinning and flying in that one direction. One of the huge things that differences between a spin putt and a push putt, higher velocity, higher spin rate, and the disc is still spinning even on a push putt. It's still rotating and spinning, but a spin putt probably moving twice as quick on that rotation as it revolves and spins forward upon release, and getting a lot more wrist angle, a lot more wrist velocity, extending the wrist, extending the elbow, and driving the shoulder forward upon release.
When you look at PulseA, the platform feels a bit more modern. You've got some little graphics that come up as well. Not to mention you get to use your phone, which, I've got my phone with me all the time. If I'm on a lunch, if I'm on lunch, if I'm on a break at work, and I can just jump in real quick, and if that's the time that I have access to, I found this program a little bit more user friendly, like on a phone or on, something on a device, where, you had to go through the web application, like a Google or Safari or whatever you're using. Anyway, so if we look at PulseA just as an example, as I talk about this, this modern platform, or like this modern sort of appearance with the graphics and things like that, this is a fine example right here.
And now as we get into the forehand standstill stance, again, we're trying to keep it basic, trying to keep it simple. I don't want to incorporate the run up or the footwork so much. I don't want to complicate things. So we're going to set up in a standstill stance. If I'm throwing in this direction here, front foot at 45 degrees, my other foot at about 45 degrees, slightly wider than shoulder width apart. Weight on the balls of the feet, good solid foundation. In this line here, the line will actually be on the front foot, on the toe, linear to the line with the back heel of my off leg. So front toe to the back heel, imaginary line, and facing in the direction of the line I'm throwing the shot. All very linear, solid base, good foundation, athletic position for the standstill forehand.
So as you can see, just those subtle little graphics, just little visuals that like aid in the experience, aid in clarifying what they are trying to explain in these lessons. Power Disc Golf Academy does not have these, added graphics. It's filmed really well, but it's filmed very basic, if I may. The lighting is good, the audio is good, the experience is professional. But this is giving me a little bit more in terms of like added visuals that makes it that little bit more engaging. But ultimately, Power Disc Golf Academy, it feels like it's giving you really in-depth lessons and like so much depth and so much detail. The amount of content that Power Disc Golf gives you is just more than PulseA right now, and more courses or more content. And I would expect that to continue going forward.
All right, we're gonna do a little practice round tutorial where I kind of walk you through mindset, disc choice, whole breakdown on how you want to approach a practice round on any disc golf course.
So again, as you can see, how to approach a practice round. Nice to see Holland Handley added in as well. And funny enough, the latest section that seems to be popping up here is a section called Playing in the Rain, and I think...
Welcome to the course about playing in the rain. We're going to discuss the gear needed, the accessories, the mentality, and the game plan when playing in adverse or wet conditions.
As you can see, there is some overlap in terms of like the content, the features, but I would say as of right now, there's some gameplay, some strategy, scrambling, bonus lessons, games and thoughts, drills and field work. Back to Power Disc Golf. I know I'm jumping back and forth, but I feel like that's sort of the best way to compare them, because I'm going to naturally kind of weave my way through my thoughts on both. Fieldwork, there was some really great drills on fieldwork, things that I'd never even thought of before in Power Disc Golf Academy that Paul Ulibarri takes you through, like certain shot shapes and like how to set them up with even something as simple as like a couple of pylons, your basket, maybe a practice net. So, I mean, if I scroll this page here, down the side here, you can see, all of these areas. There's that step putting that I just passed, putting in the wind, Simon Lizotte putting, Paul Ulibarri X step, Paul Ulibarri backhand throws, Simon Lizotte upper body mechanics, Ezra Aderhold max distance, Ulibarri touch shots inside 200 feet. Like, there's so much in here. But again, as you can see, the platform is a little bit more basic. So, and again, as you can see when I'm going through the app here, nice sort of large videos with really great text on screen. Very easy to see both like who the pro is that's featured in the video, as well as what the topic is. Drew Gibson, advanced mid-range right in the middle there. Angles and trajectories, a forehand lesson from Avery Jenkins, advanced putting, tactical training, physical training, basic stretching. So there's your stretching kind of covered. And again, Not quite as many videos as Power Disc Golf right now, but again, PulseA is newer. I like the platform. I like the visuals. I like the fact that I'm getting an app to work with. You have to think about all of those things. Does it matter to you to have, these, engaging visuals? Is that going to help you? What is going to enable you to be successful with these programs? Is in-depth content going to be the better way to go here with like tons of detail? Again, when you go full screen, you have, the visuals, it's well filmed. That's not the thing here. But if you're working your way through the lessons, I feel like PulseA has a more basic list of content right now, where Power Disc Golf has a much more extensive list. Doesn't mean that PulseA isn't going to keep adding and adding and adding. I don't doubt that they will. And I think that this is on a great path right now. Yeah, I mean, truthfully, there's a lot of overlap, as you can see, between the two programs. There's, it's going to come down to what you are looking for. I think in terms of content, I prefer Power Disc Golf Academy just for the sheer volume, the sheer amount of content that you're going to get from a program like this. But I also have to say that with PulseA, having that platform, it's really user-friendly and it's very accessible. After dinner, I put my kids to bed. In the wintertime, I've got my basket in the basement. In the summertime, I've got my basket out in the backyard. And it's pretty easy to just take my phone out and just jump into the app real quick. And not to say I won't do that on my phone with Power Disc Golf Academy, but if I have to go to Google and then I've got to search for it and then I've got to log in, a few extra steps there. And I know myself that sometimes those few extra steps can be enough that I know myself that I won't go in and use that program. All right, let's go back. I want to talk about pricing. All right, so, oh yeah, access to our private community. I forgot to talk about these things. So with Power Disc Golf Academy, I am aware of a Facebook group, and even in the platform, there are sometimes Paul Ulibarri will do a form review. So participants in Power Disc Golf Academy will submit video footage of their throw, of their putt, of their forehand, their backhand, and he will jump in and do a form review, a critique of that person's form. I found this way more useful than I thought I would. I thought a section like this would only be useful if they are reviewing my form. But when he's breaking down faults in someone else's form, I'm finding that extremely relatable and going oh wow, I never thought about it like that, or I never thought to think about that part of my form. That was phenomenal. And to be able to submit your form for the chance to have it reviewed, to create this community of people that you could kind of communicate with and troubleshoot with through a Facebook group and things like that. Again, a super useful element of this. Power Disc Golf Academy, we paid for, full disclosure. PulseA sent us 1 month of free access to their platform. And I want to say I don't think there's a community-based element to PulseA right now. Please leave a comment below. I logged into the website and then I kind of got the app on my phone, and that's sort of all I've been using since. And I don't think that that's a part of this program right now. I might be wrong. Again, I only have a 30-day here. I've used Power Disc Golf more than PulseA, but that was a useful element to Power Disc Golf Academy. Little profiles here, some testimonials. All right, let's see if I'm going to join the academy. I don't know if it'll let me see this right now. $75 a year, $75 with tax here in Canada. Looks like $78.75 USD. I had heard that there was a promotion on, and I feel like both of these platforms often have promotions on. Power Disc Golf Academy they were offering discounts for a while to educators, people in the medical field, people in the military. If you are in one of those fields, I'm not sure if that's still the case today, but they were offering some significant discounts for the platform at that time. And let's just jump over to PulseA and have a quick look at their website too. Okay, so theirs is billed annually, and if you lock in your lifetime, 50% early bird price. So instead of $14.99, it was going to be $7.45 for this early bird. Now this is I don't know if this discount or this pricing will exist when you try to get into the program. Let's see, and they do offer a free trial, which I'm already experiencing right now. Oh, so it's either $19.90 a month, billed monthly, or $7.45 a month, $89.40 billed annually. That is the better price. So I guess if you're willing to jump into it annually, you can get it at $89.40 for a year. So slightly more expensive as of right now than Power Disc Golf. Power Disc Golf was $75. But this program does offer a monthly, which is really interesting because if you're a disc golfer that's just looking to play and work on your game, through the summer months, if you kind of turn off in the winter, whether you have a winter hobby or, you're just not that into the sport come the winter time, this could be an interesting option as well. But, you are going to pay more for that. We've got partners. Let's see what we get here. Okay. Our partners, discstore.com. Ironically, we've worked with them before. Prodigy, we've worked with. Okay. So with your PDGA membership, you're getting it at $4.50 a month. That is a great price if you are someone playing tournaments. I'm glad I clicked on that. Good information. It seems like the blog is kind of a bit of a way to sort of like hook you a little bit. It's giving you a little bit of information and a little trailer here, a little video. Let's click on this and see.
I'm Matt Bell, and
Yeah.
welcome.
35 seconds, tiny little bit of information here, and then to go further with it, it wants you to click on it to go into it. So, okay, so I think that covers like most of the things that I wanted to say about these two programs. I don't think you're going to be disappointed either way. I don't think you can go wrong. Obviously, if you're a PDGA member, $4.50 a month is, does work out to, cheaper than Power Disc Golf Academy, but you're definitely getting more content there, as I've, said before. One thing that I don't think has been talked about in my videos to this point, one final thing to think about as you make your decision or you contemplate these programs is purchasing this program can feel like an easy way to get better. You're paying for this. Mentally, you go, okay, I just paid for this lesson program. I'm committing to improving my game. But paying the money is only the first step. You have to be willing to make a commitment. You just made a financial commitment, but now you need to make a commitment in terms of time. You need to make like a weekly allocation of time, both for watching the content, then for filming yourself, trying to implement what they're talking about. So you need to film yourself doing that. Then you need to give yourself time to go back and watch what you just filmed, and probably watch what you filmed in comparison to what they did in their video. And then you need to pick apart the differences between those two things. The release angle or the grip, you need to be able to, you're paying essentially to be your own teacher. And that's one of the big, kind of problems I see in this program. The content is great, but what it's asking of you is, as the person that's learning to play this sport, it's putting the onus on you to become the teacher, the critic, the videographer, the editor. You are reviewing this it's putting so much on you, and you're paying for it. I understand the reason for these programs. PulseA and Power Disc Golf Academy, are trying to set up professional disc golfers to create a form of income when they are finished their time on the pro tour. When they can't make money there anymore, you either go into like some sort of guest speaking role, you go into education, you start a program like one of these, or you do coaching like locally, or, Paul Ulibarri is, a brilliant businessman, commentating for Jomez, starting Power Disc Golf Academy, being the captain of Discraft. He has, he's dipping into all of these different pools to try to take care of himself and his family. And I have nothing but respect for that. But these programs are asking you to do a lot yourself, and you're paying for it. And that's the thing that you need to remember with a program like this. On top of that, if you're someone like myself who's not new to the sport, who's been playing the sport for almost 20 years as of right now, as I say this, I've developed tons of bad habits, but I've got myself a game that's, reasonably predictable. Right now I'm sitting as some people hate talking about ratings, but as of right now, I'm sitting at about an 800 rating. That's below where I should be. I feel like I'm probably closer to about 850. I dealt with an injury a couple years ago, and it negatively affected my rating. But regardless, I'm sitting probably about 850. And if I'm playing rounds of disc golf, I've come to the point now where I'm used to being competitive and I enjoy being competitive. If I start to commit to a program like this, or either of these programs, I'm going to have to get worse before I get better. And that's another piece of this. Like, are you willing to give up a year of your game, or however long it takes, to commit to, changing your form, working through, whatever skills and whatever technique changes you have to make, improving your X step. Now, the end game, will it improve? Yes, theoretically it should improve. I went from not using an X step and doing like a lot of rounding in my throw to really trying to work on that power pocket and, fine tune my X step. That part came together fairly quickly. But I will admit there's parts of this that, while it appeals to me, because I make weekly videos, I don't know if I really want to like completely break down everything in my game and kind of start over and recreate my game from like, square one. When, speaking of Power Disc Golf, obviously Simon Lizotte is part of Power Disc Golf now. And, he talks about, when you're making shots in disc golf, it ultimately just comes down to practice. It's repetition, and it's, he's basically saying, what was the thing he said? He said, I've thrown more bad shots than you'll throw like in your life, basically. I think he said something like, I'll throw more bad shots, just bad shots, than you've thrown shots, period, in your life, implying like the amount of time and the amount of work he's put in his game. When we watch his, weekly YouTube videos and stuff like that, and he stands on a tee and he's like just missing the basket, or he's ace running like hole after hole, and you're just thinking like, how on earth is it coming so easily to this guy? Well, it's coming easily because he's put in like years and years and years of time for it. So, I think a big part of considering a program like this is, what are you willing to do to become a better disc golfer? If you're young, if you're new, and you're willing to commit to making changes to your game, improving your form at whatever cost that is, you're willing to invest money in a program like this, in a resource like, a basket at home, a practice net, the Putt Confidently Champ Cap for working on your putting. Like, if you're willing to go to all of these lengths, and that, for the amount of money you're going to spend on all of those things, you might have been able to find a teacher, someone that coaches locally, or someone that's been playing for 20, 25 years who like understands the game, where you could meet with them for a year and they could work on things. And as they're watching your form, they're going, oh, you should fix this. I can see right now, your X step is messy. Your front foot lands and it's opening wide to the tee box where it needs to be squared off to the tee box so that you give yourself room to rotate. I'm talking about something that I do right now. But hiring a coach, you're going to get that immediate feedback. You might even be able to ask that coach, hey, can I film this so that I can, learn from what you've just told me? And you might get way more from a few of those lessons where you've got a professional giving you feedback than a program like this that you paid for, and then you still have to teach yourself. So, I don't want to be critical of these programs. They're giving great information, but it then puts, it puts the weight back on you, and it points the finger at you to go, okay, you paid for this. Now, can you actually benefit from it? I don't mean to end on a negative note, but I think that's a really important part of, as we think about programs like these. And yeah, I think it's worth taking serious consideration of like how much time you have, and are you willing to do all of those jobs, to film yourself, to critique yourself, to compare footage from the pro to you, and try to figure out analyzing the differences between your form and theirs when you maybe don't even know what you're looking for. Yes, they can tell you in the video, but can you actually like come to that conclusion and then make that change yourself? Like, there's a lot of elements to that. Maybe you can, but maybe you can't. And I don't think that part is talked near enough. So this has been a really long video. If you are still here, I can't thank you enough. I really appreciate it. As always, if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. There's so much more coming this spring. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. If you're watching videos like this, then I know you're going to love what we've got coming up between disc reviews, gear reviews, more bags. We've got more merchandise coming out ourselves. There's so much stuff coming. So if you're into disc golf, you need to be here. Thanks so much for watching as always. My name is Ryan. This is Local. We are local.